We founded the company together in January 2016, and the name has two parts. To char means to turn biomass into biochar, and line stands for product lines. So the idea behind this name was, if you Google biochar, you will find immediately the 150 uses of biochar. You can use it for air cleaning systems, you can use it for terra preta-like soils, you can use it for nearly everything. Our vision is to create out of the feedstock biochar ready products, because biochar itself, like Gerald told us before, is not a ready product. Customers are not looking for the 150 benefits on which they can use biochar. They're looking for a specific problem and for a specific solution. And that's our goal, to create product lines out of biochar. Today I want to talk mainly about biochar as a feed additive. We did many trials with different biochars, and with different biochars, I mean biochars made out of different feedstocks, for example wood, or paper fiber sludge, or grain husks, for example. Also pyrolyzing it at different temperature levels and different times in the reactors. All these three parameters give me different biochars, and all of these biochar characteristics work different in the stomach systems. The reason why we started to investigate in different biochars was that we gave the farmers our biochar and he had positive effects. The neighbor of the farmer, the other farmer, had no additional positive effects. Where we had no additional positive effects, we gave the farmer other biochars. And suddenly it worked, there were positive effects. So that's our knowledge to design the right product, the right mixture of the biochar. And we call this mixture the CharLine feed char. And yeah, since we have this mixture, it works pretty well. And yeah, it works. And we had to learn that really every stomach system from every animal is different. So there are different needs. And therefore different biochars are needed. Our goal was to create the ready feed char product for every different animal. Our goal above is to increase on a natural way the animal health. It's always a mixture. We allow natural additives in our products, and of course we only take biochars with the highest quality standards, so no problem with pH contents or dioxins. At this picture you'll see our current whole range of different biochars. We have it for the animal husbandry market and also for the pet market. Just to give you a short overview, in common, this is for all our biochars. For the animal husbandry market, we have it for cattle, calves, pigs, poultry, sheep, and for the pet market, we have it for dog, cats, and horses. It's always a different mixture of the biochars, and our knowledge, as told before, is based on field trials. The further steps will be scientific tests with universities, and all our feed char have a fixed moisture content of 30%. That's very important. If you go like 3% below this 30%, you will have dusty problems. If you go like 5% above the 30%, it starts to clog and you cannot mix it with the normal feed very well. Only highest quality standards, and we are in non-stop optimization mode. Our products are very good at the moment, but we are always looking for further improvements. I want to go through every product very quickly, starting with the product for cattle. It's mainly mixed directly into the silage. every farmer tells us that he observes a decrease in cell numbers and also a decreased need of antibiotics. And therefore, of course, less veterinary costs. For the cattle, we have a powdery substance. It's no matter that there are small particles in it, because into the silage you don't have problems with bigger particles like corn-sized particles. The more interesting product is for calves. It was very interesting for me. 2 years ago, I visited the first time in my life an auction where you can buy calves. And if you ever visited such an auction, you will know what stress for animals means. It's very intense, and the difficult thing for the farmer is that if he buys a calf and he brings it to his own farm, during 1 week he has no weight gains. He's only looking to keep the calf alive because of this stress situation it got on the auction. So therefore there are huge problems with diarrhea caused by the stress situation, and our feature works pretty well against it. We have optimized it for the usage with milk substitutes. For example, we have a measurement spoon, and that works for 4 liters of those milk substitutes. And it's important to have a very fine particle size to get it through the siphon. If you have bigger particles, then it will clog and no milk will come through it anymore. That's one of our best products at the moment, because there are many products on the market who promise to solve the problems the calves have, but our product works on a very constant base, so no fluctuations, it just works. The farmers are very happy with it. The second product is for pigs. There's also a special stress situation. It's also a very good product at the moment for us. The best application is after weaning of the piglets. That means if you have a small piglet who gets taken away from the mother. So the change from mother's milk to normal feed is again a huge stress situation for the small pigs, and therefore you will have again diarrhea problems, and the product works pretty well again. The interesting thing is that the farmers, they know their animals very well, and they tell us every time they use our feature that they feel that the whole stable is a more relaxed atmosphere. And also the tail biting, it's a very reduced tail biting problem. And that's also a sign for us that the animal health increased very much. The product for sheep, this is our newest product. There are also big diarrhea problems, and it works like for every other animal very well. It's again a complete different mixture of biochars, but we discovered you have to be very careful with applying feature to sheep, because if you're only feeding hay, you are on the lowest nutrient limit level for feeding sheep. And if you have too much biochar into the system, then it is possible to even take some of the nutrients that's left in the hay away with the biochar. So that's a very critical point where we have to do some more investigations to fix this problem. My main focus of this presentation is about the poultry, the products for poultry. We have an ongoing trial, a field trial. It's called the GEFCO trial. GEFCO stands for Geflügelfutterkohle, that's translated poultry feed char. And it was again it was shocking to see how much antibiotics or medicine is needed in this poultry farming process to push the animals to the limits and to get a financial benefit out of it. In conventional farming, antibiotics or medicine is mixed into the normal feed, so there is no chance to get rid of it. And in the organic farming, there is a vaccine at the beginning. So antibiotics are needed for poultry farming. That was really shocking to us, and we have the attempt to apply a natural way to increase animal health, to find a good and working alternative to these antibiotics. We created a very special mixture for this poultry farming. For example, we created an acid feed char. The stomach system of the poultry is not that compatible with the high pH value of the normal biochar. So we had to make it acid, and that works pretty well. The pilot plant, we found the farmer family Höfler. First of all, a huge thank you to this farmer family. They have not only a huge self-interest in increasing on a natural way the animal health, they're also very critical. And that's very important for us to have such farmer partnerships. And also they have 3 nearly identical stables on their site. So we have every time one stable without any medicine, without any antibiotics, just with our special feature mixture. And the other 2 stables are conventional with the normal feed, with antibiotics and so on. So we have a good comparison between our special mixture and the normal way. You will see the farmer tomorrow on the field trip. The first thing we discovered was that the poultry farming industry is a closed system. You will see on the right-hand side the tube and the automatic feeding system, and there is nearly no chance to get some additives into the feeding systems. So we tried to find a feed producer. We found the company Xelman. Again, it was many discussions were needed to get the company Xelman on our site, and you have to imagine that it's a very big company, and to add one new additive into their system with very small batch numbers, so only, like for example, 2,000 kilograms with our special mixture. That's a huge additional work they have to do. So they're not happy with such projects, but they're on our side and they are cooperating very well. I think I don't have to explain which heap contains our feature. Also, the palletizing process is very easy. The test setup, we gather on a daily basis the losses, the dead animals, the dead chicken. Also, we know exactly how much feed we used per kilogram. We know the chicken weight at the end, because on basis of the weight, the farmer gets his money. And based on this data, we are able to calculate all the data, for example, the feed conversion rate. I want to show you in detail this first chart. Now we are in the 9th trial. We have the data from trial 1 to 8. There are the losses from day 1 till 28. So from birth to slaughter, there are only 28 days needed. And we have the percentage of losses. So the lower the value, the better for the farmer, because he has more chicken in the end. The black one is always the special stable with our feature mixture in it. I will quickly through it and explain later why. At the first trial, we had the best result. Second, we were in the middle. The third trial, we were even worse than the conventional stables. Fourth, we were again in the middle. The fifth, we had again the best results, the less losses, and so on, until the 8th trial. The reason why I'm clicking very quick through it is that, like we heard many times before, if you do one trial for feeding, you cannot say that it works or that it does not work. It's very, very important to have ongoing trials to test it over a very long period of time to get a good result. If you compare these average losses, then you will see that we have exactly the same losses as with antibiotics. And the feed conversion rate and the slaughter rate are always the same as with the conventional method, as with antibiotics, if not even better. So I think that's a very, very good result for us, because we showed that during these 8 trials, we don't need any antibiotics or medicine at all. It works just with a special feature mixture. And I think that's already a huge success for us. One day the farmer surprised us. That's his self-interest. He bought on his costs this plate with the stick on it. That's an online measurement system where the weight of the chicken is weighed. So it's a scale, an online scale. So we know exactly when we apply, for example, the first week the biochar. Let's say the weight increases drastically, and if we reduce the biochar, it's not that much increase in weight anymore, and so on. So we have more data to look on, and that's the self-interest of the farmer. This will cost, for example, 10,000 euros for all 3 stables. So we are very happy with our farmer. The conclusion for the GAFCO trials is that we have the same losses as with antibiotics. I think that's already a huge success. We calculated the costs for 1 chicken, also per animal. We have additional costs of 3.1 cents. That does not sound like a huge amount of money, but the poultry farming industry calculates in even smaller portions. So we are always looking to optimize even the costs. And we think the natural poultry farming without any antibiotics or medicine is possible, but there are numerous more trials needed, and we are always looking for more farmers. Maybe for a more difficult farmer where the situation for the animals is not as good as with the ongoing trials, and we also want to include the universities. So that's the part with the animal husbandry market. The second part in which we divide our feature is the pet market. Let's start with the feature for dogs. For dogs we have 2 different types of feature. The first is pellets and also a powder version. The reason why we offer 2 versions is that if you mainly apply wet food, then the powder is better because of the moisture content of the food. The powder sticks very good on it, and the dog has only one option to eat the biochar. And if you have only dry food, then the pellets are the better version. The main effect is always based on absorption of pollutants and toxins. Every dog owner tells us that he observes reduced stress. And if you apply it over more than 30 days, also nearly every second owner tells us he observes a better fur quality. The fur gets more full, more shiny, and there are no stomach problems anymore. And especially in urban areas where there are a lot of dog owners, they like the benefit that the feature reduces the common dog smell, the wet dog smell. That's also a very good benefit for this product. And it reduces also flatulences. We had a woman with a dog, 30 kilograms and a 40 square meter flat, and he told me that She had huge problems. She had to leave her flat 3 times a day because the farting problems of her dog. She tried it, and 2 days after she asked for the biggest can possible for the dog because it works pretty well. So that's one of the main benefits for dog owners. For this kind of owners or this markets, it's very important to have special instruction. You need a step-by-step instruction on how to use this product. So it's depending on dog's weight. There is a measurement spoon, and from this you will have to apply on a daily basis like half a spoon or a full spoon. And we had to learn that also the customer questions are very different from the for the animal husbandry market. The animal husbandry market is only interested in how much I have to pay for it and what are the benefits calculated in euros at the end for me. That's the question a farmer is looking for. You get totally different questions from the pet owners. For example, I had one customer who was very curious. She it was an older guy. He asked, my dog has white fur. If I apply your product, will it turn black? Because I don't want a black dog, I want my white dog to remain white. And you have to deal with very funny questions and different questions at the same time. Next product for the cats. Again, how it works, it's always the absorption of pollutants and toxins. It's very easy to use with wet food, and the biggest problem for cats is that they are very picky. Because the owner gave, in my opinion, their cats too much food. They can't choose. There is a full bucket of food, and I look at it as a cat and as a nope, does not smell like I like it now. Let's put it away. And so the dog owners say their cats are very picky, they don't like everything, and therefore this product works also very well because there is no taste, no flavor at all, and also no smell in the feature products. They can only realize it from the color it adds to the normal feed. And also the main benefit for cat owners is the reduced smell and the reduced flatulence. A more interesting product is for horses. We get the feedback that the horse owner observes more relaxed horse, so reduced stress is a very important benefit. It's very important for sport horses because they get nervous at the beginning of their conventions or something like this, so reduced stress is a very big benefit for them. And we had also very good results against colic, fecal water, that's a special form of diarrhea, and also Mollanders, that's a special skin problem horses may have. And it works every time because of the same reason, the absorption of pollutants and toxins, and that's one of the things we had to learn, that nearly every problem comes from the inside, from the stomach system. If the stomach system is clean, if it's working properly, then also the animal health increases drastically. And also a very big benefit for the horse owners is that they have very low costs compared to veterinary costs. You can imagine if the veterinary drives to your stable and he opens the door, then you will immediately have to pay more than for my product. It's very costly thing, the veterinaries. For horses, we have the pellets. It was a very difficult process to produce those pellets, but they are highly accepted, so the horses like the pellets. And there's also a normal measurement spoon in it, and the application is nearly the same instruction strategy like for dogs. to go back to the animal husbandry. You can never neglect the cascade effect. Our goal is to make the biochar already profitable in the stomach system so that the benefits afterwards are free of charge. The biochar is stable for hundreds of years, and we think that's one of the best ways for the farmer to bring biochar onto their fields, because it's already in the system and it's already paid through animal health. But we have still some things to do. We are asking for a public funding project for about 350,000 euros. It's mainly for horses, poultry and cattle. And for example, we want to know which biochar works scientific proven in which way, which toxins are bound by which biochar and so on. So there are many open questions we want to know, because during now our knowledge is only based on the field trials we did. Yeah, as mentioned at the beginning, we do not stop to optimize our products. There are different marketing strategies needed for the pet market or the animal husbandry, and more product lines will follow. Also more animal products will follow. The conclusion, we had to learn that every animal has a different stomach system compared to other animals. This demands different feature products. We can never neglect the cascade effect, because the benefits afterwards are free of charge. And we want to point out that please be careful with cheap offers on the market. Since we are in the biochar market since 2009, we get nearly on a daily basis offers from Eastern Europe, from Africa, from Asia. You want to buy huge quantities to this price, it's discount and everything, and every time we ask for a certificate, we will get no answer. And when they send a certificate, then we know exactly that these so-called biochars are not suitable for any usage at all. They would have to dispose it, but they are also looking for selling those kind of so-called biochars. So be careful with those cheap offers. So yeah, that's my presentation. Thanks. Yeah.
Could you share what are the difficulties in pelletizing biochar?
The pelletizing process was very difficult. We asked 3 big pelletizing companies. Each of them told us, send us a big bag, a cubic meter, and when do you need the finished pellets, like 1 day, 3 days? I said, yes, you'll have the big bags and try. For 2 weeks we heard nothing from these pelletizing companies, and I called them, each of them, and everyone told us it's not possible to pelletize them. They pelletized already charcoal. Charcoal worked pretty well, but biochar is a complete different structure. It's very difficult to pelletize. So we have bought our own pelletizing machine, and we had to invest quite some time to find the right mixture to be able to pelletize it, because we want only we want the pure biochar, the pure feature itself pelletized. We don't like to have some binding materials only for the binding purpose in it. And that was the difficult thing. If you pelletize it, like shown before, in normal feed with the 0.5%, then it's no problem at all. It works without any changes for the pelletizing machine.
But 100% is difficult.
100% is very difficult, very difficult.
What's the difference between the cat char and the dog char?
For dogs, we have the 2 versions, powder and pellets. For cats, we have only the powder, and also the biochar mixture is different. Please don't ask me about the mixture receipt. That's company secret.
How many tons a year of the biochar are you selling into the agriculture full fleet market, so I guess that's pigs and cows.
In Austria, we have unfortunately not that big farms, so they mainly buy like one big pig and they're happy for about months. So therefore, last year we sold around 150 tons for these markets. But the curve is rising rapidly. So it took quite some time to get into these markets, because you have to know in Austria and Germany there are very big feed producers, and they are organized like mafia structures. And to apply new products to these markets is very difficult. And it took quite some time to be able to even talk to the farmers. At the beginning, they were only, for example, if there's the booth, they're only looking like. Okay, so I recognize this product, but I'm not asking you what this product is capable of, because I've seen you the first time. It took us like 6 months to 1 year to have the trust to be able to speak to the farmers.
Some chicken strain producers recommend eat or feed antibiotics because the better growth. But do you think that replacing antibiotics with the biochar will keep also better growth? I mean that feeding antibiotics for the healthy animals, just for the better production, better meat growth.
Can you repeat the question so everyone?
The question was, many farmers apply antibiotics to increase the growth of the poultry.
I mean those chicken strain suppliers who is selling these parent chickens.
Yeah.
And so they recommend to use antibiotics for the better growth, not for the healthy, only for the better production.
Okay, so applying antibiotics only for better growth.
Yeah.
Yeah. We discovered that we have the same feed conversion rate, if not even better, compared with antibiotics. The thing is, the farmer we had the cooperation with has very high standard stables. He has floor heating, he has a lot of light, he has the stables on their side where it's very quiet. So it's nearly ideal conditions. That's the reason why we're looking for a farmer who has not that good conditions. Because we feel that on this farmer's side, where not everything is going perfect, that the feature itself develops its full potential. But I think that's already a huge success on a very high standard stable, that we have the same, if not better results compared to antibiotics, with only 3.1 cents additional costs per chicken.
2 questions, if I may. Firstly, when are you doing a product for children? And secondly, more seriously, you mentioned dioxins. Presumably you analyse your chars for dioxins in furans. Do you think there's any risk that the dioxins, even in very low concentrations, might get through the chicken, for example, into humans?
We have no assumption to be worried about the dioxin problem, not at all. Also the dioxin level in our biochar is very low. It's one of the critical things if you paralyze grain husks, the dioxin level, but with the Pirate facility we have on our site, we have no problems at all. So that's our high quality standards we set. For the product for humans, we have many customers who buy our dog or horse products for themselves. We meet every limit value, if you want, for humans already, but to get the permit is a complete different league you have to get into it. You have to have a lot of money. You have to invest a lot of money into new buildings to meet those legislation limits and so on. But it works for humans as well.
I hadn't realised I was asking a serious question.
No, it's a very good question. Also, I'm the best way to explain the product to my friends is if you eat these pellets we have for dogs, only 3 pellets, you are able to drink 3 beers more without any damage. That's a very good starting point to get them into the topic. But it works pretty well, especially against diarrhea problems. It works fantastic for humans.
Evening, huh?
Sorry?
Let's give it a go this evening.
You're welcome.
It sounds like your entry into the sheep market is still fairly new. We have a farmer who has trouble with enteric parasites and is trialling it, assessing the manure, doing a feed leg count to see if it's having an impact on that. Is parasite a problem in Europe?
Well, currently we have no problems with parasites. There is only the diarrhea problem, which we know about the sheep industry. But we have to do a lot more of investigations in the sheep as an animal product itself.
Now you also mentioned that you use powder for the sheep.
Yeah.
Have you experienced, or your customers experienced, any problems with inhaling the biochar?
No. No problems at all. That's like mentioned before. Our feature products are always based on 30% moisture content. With this 30% moisture content, you are able to mix it perfectly into the normal feed, and on the same side have no dust problems. So you're not able to inhale it through your system. You are only able to eat it because there is no dust on it.
30% will dry out pretty quickly in an Australian summer.
It will dry very quickly, yeah? But hopefully they will take it with the normal feed faster.
In Saudi Arabia, we have too much waste food. The capital of Saudi Arabia generates more than 2,000 metric tons per day as waste food. I see Japanese model making eco-feed. Eco-feed is derived from food waste with other additives. What do you think of incorporating these health benefits of biochar for animal as part of incorporating it with waste food? You generate eco-feed like that Japanese model. It will give the whole benefit of the environment and the animal.
I don't know what's waste food.
Food waste.
Food waste, yeah?
Yes.
It could be anything from lettuces that are surface or potatoes that are not getting cooked or the peels from
Cooked rice and
Okay.
food processing waste rather than cooked meals.
Okay, but I didn't get the question. So.
Oh, if you would mix the char in with such a product as they do in Saudi Arabia, where they're turning 2,000 tons of food waste per day in their capital city, for example, they already turned it into eco-feed.
Okay, so they feed waste food to their animals.
Yes. Incorporate char as a 100%.
I think it would work quite well. Because every pollutants or toxins, that's the main benefit of our feature products. Those were, there's a huge binding effect for those kind of pollutants. I think this could work pretty well.
Do you sell your product outside the EU?
Not yet. We are selling in whole Europe, but not outside at the moment.
I would be interested just, maybe I missed it because I entered a little bit later, but you told us about use in animal husbandry and also in the pet market. Which is a larger money bringer for your company? Can you repeat the question? 'Cause I don't
The question was in which market is more money in it, the pet market or the animal husbandry market? It's definitely the pet market. Last month I visited the biggest convention in the world for the pet market in Nuremberg, Germany, with over 2,000 exhibitors, and it was crazy to get to know this industry this close because there is a lot of money in it. And as told before, they are not interested in the costs, they're only interested in the benefits they get out of this product. And the benefits are, you can see them immediately, within days. If you have problems with diarrhea, you will see it within a half day. And therefore the pet market is much more attractive. But we don't neglect the animal husbandry market because we believe in natural, healthy animals. We want to have and eat animals, natural, healthy animals. And it was, again, shocking for us to get to know these industries that close and to realize how much antibiotics, for example, are needed.
So another market that's lucrative is the horse racing market. So have you been involved in any discussions with them?
Yes. For example, we have the horse Orlando Jet. That's a winning horse in Austria, which got an invitation last week for the biggest competition in Sweden. And he is using our feature for especially these reasons I told before, reduced stress situation in front of the competition. That's a crucial point that they are looking for, and it works quite well.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
One, I know when humans are taking activated carbon and they're taking other medicines, you have to be careful of taking the charcoal too close to when you take the other medicines. Have you talked to vets about that at all?
Yeah, we have a small sign on our product. If you apply antibiotics or medicine is needed, then please put away the feature, because it could be possible that the feature is binding the substance from the medicine. But we have many farmers who apply the feature directly into the feeding systems, and they have no chance at all to get rid of it. And even if they needed some medicine or antibiotics, the effect of the antibiotics was still there. So it's up to the farmer. But we as a producer, we have to be careful with this.
And my second question was, you said it's 3.1 cents more to feed to poultry, but are they able to sell antibiotic-free chicken for higher yet, or are they talking about that? Or?
This would be for us the next logic step. But it's very difficult to find a partner for such a solution, because this poultry farming industry is very close with each other. So if there is one farmer who promotes his chicken as completely natural, without any antibiotics and medicine, then the others would have problems with argumenting why are in your chicken any antibiotics, why are they needed. So this industry is very careful with such new ideas. For us, it would be the perfect step to create the complete natural grown chicken without any medicine or antibiotics. Because we think it works, but it's very difficult to find a partner for this.
This is just a suggestion which follows now this discussion. I mean, if you have a partner like Greenpeace or whatever kind of environmental organization that does kind of guarantee a label or a kind of transporting this customer demand to the producers, being very well known, it might be a kind of point of entry. So that's just an idea. Because I remember that when we had to take out the FCK KW substances out of the cooling systems, 20 years ago or longer, there was a big wailing in entire Germany that it's not possible to produce a fridge without these substances. And then there was, I think it was Greenpeace or some environmental organization, and they just produced the very first one without, and said, look, it's possible. And people started buying that, and suddenly the industry came running and producing these things because there was a demand for it. So maybe it's good if this demand would be created from the outside, because I think customers would really love to know that and to buy that. And so maybe the point of entry is not you or not the farmers, but maybe via an environmental organization. Could be an idea.
Maybe, yeah.
The closer analogy might actually be not necessarily environmental organization, Greenpeace or otherwise, but would be to look at the analog study or case of the evolution to cage-free habitats for chickens, for laying eggs. That the whole movement to open range was required to basically create a whole new system for housing the chickens, how that's been financed, how that's been driven, where the pull was from that. To make that happen, this would be the similar analog to it, and that's actually gone forward in the last 10 years.
Your customers' results with the application of your product in cattle feed, do they experience what type of percentage increase in turnout and body mass? Is there an average figure you can give?
We have no data about that. Sorry. Only the decreased cell number and the reduced stress is always mentioned. And that's for many farmers in our region already a good argument to use those products, because they're always at the limit with the cell numbers.
Does the European bio designation allow antibiotics?
I don't know. In organic farming for poultry, it is allowed to apply a starting vaccine with antibiotics, but it's not allowed to mix antibiotics fixed in the feed. Without antibiotics, it's even not possible in organic farming.
With dark meats, it's allowed to. You just have to hold them back for longer before you slaughter them.
Have you done any testing on meat quality for any of these animals yet?
Not yet, but I would be happy to have some results on that. We were close to find a partner for this kind of tests and quality measurements, but unfortunately it didn't work out. But we are looking for it.
Anyone else?
Aquaculture. Number 8 in the alphabet. Aquaculture is a topic that would be worldwide an issue, because often the fish excrete into the water, i.e. they're not on land, so nobody catches the waste. And considering what happens in a sewage treatment plant or in a lagoon, when where they hold the manure, sludge, when we already know that there are aerobic and anaerobic issues, then the logical thing for me in Australia is that why not engage with the aquaculture industry from the hatchery where they're land-based and then go into where they're in the ocean. So that applies definitely in Australia and a major way, New Zealand, Norway, Scotland, Canada. Huge. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars annual turnover alone in Tasmania. In the moment, over $600 million industry. They're aiming at over $1 billion industry with all the environmental impacts attached to it. So it's a really controversial issue. They have got mortalities galore through environmental impact, climate change, etc. So I would like to see how we can collaborate. And if anybody is here from Norway involved in this kind of stuff, there's obviously Norwegians are leaders in, or amongst the leaders in feed production worldwide.
I can mention that we're talking with one of Norway's biggest salmon producers.
Skretting or?
Marine Harvest.
Right.
So they're interested. And yeah.
We are always open for such collaborations and partnerships. So if somebody knows a farmer who is really interested in trying out new ways to grow natural, healthy animals, then we are definitely the right partner. And we are already doing some tests for carbs in Austria, but we have no data yet.
What's sort of your business model going abroad? Would it be to sell directly yourselves, or what's
Sending abroad, for example, to US directly to the end customer?
exporting, or would you be interested in producing it abroad and selling locally from the franchise?
Yeah. I think it would be better to produce it on site, on a regional base, than produce it centralized here in Austria. We know the parameters which are needed to create high quality products. That's our knowledge. But I think it would make no sense to build a huge facility like 1,000 times than we have now here in Austria and to export it to every country in the world. There's a lot of good biomass everywhere, and I think it would be a decentralized solution would be much better.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I think there were some smiles at that answer over there, if I had to guess.